welcome back again. Are you guys excited for our next and last session? Because I definitely am. Okay, so our next and last session is about gender equality. Without further ado, I invite our lovely panelists to the platform. Mr. Shauki, I hand this over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam UiTM di hatiku and very good day to all the audience. Welcome to the Youth Virtual Intellectual Conference 2021. Here is the last slot for our program and make sure that all the audience stay with us until the end of our program. With me, Muhammad Shauki bin Aziz as your moderator in the last slot will be fully handling the slot entitled Gender Equality. Our discussion would not be complete without an invitation speaker. So, with that, I introduce two great speakers as well as synonymous with our life. I'm sure that the audience who are watching this slot are also happy and excited to be with our speakers. Please welcome our first speaker, known as Dr. Unicorn. I welcome Dr. Amanda Eli. She worked at Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia and she mastered in stress management, health and beauty. How are you, Dr. Amanda?
Good, I'm very good. Thank you so much, my dear. Hope you are well too.
Inshallah. Great. I'm sure our discussion on this evening slot will be lively with the arrival of our great speakers. I'm sure that most of us had followed Dr. Amanda in Instagram because of her best content that she shared on Instagram. Okay, next, I would like to introduce our second speaker, Mr. Muhammad Arif bin Muhammad Hanafi. How are you, Mr. Arif?
Hello, hi everyone. I'm good, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay,
I'm
Mr.
done.
Arif. Okay, Mr. Arif Haikal is content manager in ML Studios in Emrahat. So that we are very lucky today to have good speakers in our forum. I would like to remind the audience to stay with us until the end of this slot. If the audience has any questions that you would like to address to the speakers, please leave the question in the comment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, gender equality is something that we must pay attention to right now. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. This is because we want to reduce discrimination between the sex so that there will be no disputes and misunderstandings. With that too, we can prove that women are also actually capable of doing things without expecting help from anyone. Without further ado, let's jump to the first question so that Dr. Amanda, for the first question that I want to ask you is, what is the difference between gender equity, equality, and women empowerment, and how we can differ it? Dr. Amanda, please welcome.
Oh wow, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
Very
Dr.
well, yeah. Okay, so my name is Dr. Amanda binti Ali. I am a medical officer with the Ministry of Health Malaysia. Thank you so much for having me here today, MPP, UiTM Kuala Pilah, and also Youth Virtual Intellectual Conference. Very, very honored to share the same platform with you guys, and especially our next speaker right here, which is a big shot from MLS Studio. So thank you very much for giving me this platform. I think with regards to women equality and women equity, it's more or less the same. Yeah, women equality is when we talk about equals, right? An apple with an apple, orange with an orange. So if it's 50% for the men, then you would expect 50% for women, okay? women equity basically is just a process of us moving towards women equality, or you call it as gender equality. Women empowerment, however, is an entirely different topic for which I think the current system is sort of failing. I have to say, this is my honest opinion. With regards to women empowerment, it's a very complex task. When you say empower itself is a huge word. Okay, when you say empower means you need to support one another, you need to facilitate one another. So it's very, very hard, kan? Sometimes, as much as we try to make the bonds, okay, between our colleagues or between, say, our friends or what at work, our bosses, etc. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to expect everyone supporting each other in a community. So that's why in the real community, which is why, ironically, you see, the best women empowerment actually comes from social media. Because a lot of people that you do not know on social media, complete strangers, I believe that these are the people who really, really empower each other in the best ways that they can, through their comments and through their likes, etc. But in the real world, when the real thing comes, you see, when it comes to ambition or maybe a project being done, we're still lacking in that. You understand? And that's just the sad truth. Yeah. Okay, so that's it from me. Next question. Next panel.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amanda, for the explanation about the woman empowerment. So that as we know, we can know that from the Dr. Amanda, she said that the best woman empowerment is came from media social. So I think that all of us have the social media, and of course, such as Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and so on. So from that, the woman empowerment came. So a while ago, Dr. Amanda Ali shared with us about the difference between gender equity, gender equality, and women empowerment. In Malaysia, in your opinion, Mr. Arif, are issues of gender equality are being taken seriously by citizens?
Hello everyone. Hi. Happy Saturday. First of all, happy Saturday. Second, I think Shauki has dressed well compared to us, Dr. Menda and me. We just wear plain t-shirt, WWF t-shirt.
I'm
So
wearing my kaftan, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I think
It's
the real panel is Shauki here.
it's
um,
okay.
Okay. Okay. Back to the question. Is it gender equality taken serious by the citizenship, by all the citizen? Um, generally speaking, I see that most of us are not aware of it. So when we're not aware of the issue, so less thing or less people to concern about or to fight the issue. Okay, generally speaking. But when we grow older, when we open up to a bigger spectrum of generation, come to generation from 90s and older, uh, we are we are introduced by all these by this media social, by this issue about some women are being oppressed in a certain issue, being less paid and whatnot, and all. So over the time the issue is there, but only on social media social, on Twitter. But we are rarely seeing people are talking in the street. For me, I see that. So when we are not talking it on the street, we might see people are talking it, but in a small group rather than in a bigger group. Ironically, we are here talking through virtual. So the issue is there. We are try to address the issue, but the issue is circulate around virtual media social and on Twitter, Facebook. But in the real on the real world, I see my own eyes. Some of my friends are not getting their jobs because of gender and whatnot. So, um, and one of the most for me, it's funny for me because um, the girl say that, kalau susah sangat, if it's so hard to be a man and to be a girl to make a job, I might as well teach myself to be a man. So yeah, the issue is there, but most of it circulate around most of it and being discussed a lot in social media, Twitter, Instagram, through Insta story, Facebook and whatnot, even in YouTube people discuss it. But in real world we are still a bit taboo to say and to see people discussing about gender equality. Yeah, that is my opinion about the question. I hope I answered the question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Arif. I'm also agree with Mr.
Shoki,
Arif's view.
Shoki, Shoki.
Yes.
Hello. Just call me Haikal. I
Oh,
be awkward for me to to hear my name is Arif. Sorry.
oh, okay, okay, no problem. Okay, as Mr. Haikal said that mostly, generally, most of us not aware about the gender equality. So become the generation 90s and above. So the gender equality is taking not too serious because most of us not to pay attention about this issue. But today we know that there are many social media that talk about gender equality, about the job discrimination and so on. So that is the issue yang what we call the issue yang tiada not be
Never
kesudahannya
ending
lah
issue.
macam tu. Ha.
Never ending issue.
Yes, never ending issue. Sorry.
I got
So,
you.
however, I also heard that women is not encouraged to be a leader because of the emotional and has a high ego. So, in your opinion, Dr. Amanda, can Dr. explain whether this statement is still relevant or not?
Essentially, my dear, women, we are a bag of hormones. Okay, so we are unstable all the time. Sometimes we are well. Most of the times we are just packed because there's just so much responsibilities being held upon our shoulder. Even if there's not much responsibility, for some reason we women we tend to feel as if we are responsible for such things. For me to bluntly say that women leaders are not good, kan? Just because they are women, just because they are hormonal, quote unquote, is very wrong. Okay. In fact, in the healthcare industry itself, 70% of doctors worldwide, 70% doctors seluruh dunia sebenarnya adalah women, they're not men. What are the leadership qualities that women possess inborn, for example? Number one, we have that maternal instinct, kan? So thank God for that. And with that maternal instinct, we tend to nurture, we tend to extract, and we tend to care about things, kan? We tend to manage. However, with that being said, that is an advantage of women. But with that being said, we must learn how to not micromanage people. Faham? Because at the end of the day, kan, semua orang ada dia punya own things to do. Okay, and it's not just work, or it's not just focusing on family. There's so many other aspects. Okay, and I think we are still learning, and we are improving. Okay, for us to say, for us to give all position to men exclusively would also be wrong, because at the end of the day, there must be check and balance, kan? If everything is just all on one side, it wouldn't be very good. Okay, so that you wouldn't know the best out of both worlds. So that's it.
Sorry. Can I ask a question? Okay, Shoki, sorry. Um, I come here to seek an answer also. So I would
Mm.
like to ask doctor, as a doctor lah, you doctor. I'm just a normal person. Um, okay, doctor say that hormone. Okay, hormone may influence a person, a person, a woman in a decision making. Would be that a man does have any hormone that may affect their decision making. I want to know. I want to know. I don't have the answer, so I want to know.
Okay, very good. Actually, men have hormones too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I
all
know,
of
but
us, yeah, yeah, all of us.
our hormone,
Mm.
affect the decision making in term of emotionally.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Okay,
Actually, you see, even for Shauki to ask this question is already very much slicing women off, because when it comes
okay,
to decision making, people tend to label women as being hormonal, hence affecting their judgment. But what about men? Men are also filled with hormones. Hello, kan? So
okay.
hormones, for instance, hormones that causes anger or egoistic,
Okay,
reasons.
see.
Initially, I didn't want to point this out, but since Haikal has already asked, so
Oh, okay. So
uh,
means that both gender may have their own hormone, and the
sure,
hormone are
yeah,
also one of the factor uh, being a person being emotional.
correct, that's right. Mm.
Okay. I'm clear. I'm just I like to, because I'm coming here. This is not my field. If you guys know me, I'm not the one who social justice warrior, uh, fighting for gender equality or whatnot. So I'm coming here not as well become a panel. I would like to seek an answer also. So that's why I ask directly to doctor. I'm not a doctor. You are a doctor.
All right, Mr. Haikat. Thank you for asking the question. I think there's new knowledge for us to know about the hormone because we are talking to the doctor. So there is one advantage for those that join with us today because we can learn the new one. So from
Before that, Shauki, sorry, doktor nak
yes,
apologize
doctor.
dekat you all semua. Doktor sebenarnya kerja non-stop dah since last week. So every day doktor have to work. Even today pun doktor masuk kerja. Tomorrow pun doktor akan masuk kerja lagi. So I'm a bit like
Busy.
sesama sikit. I'm so sorry.
You
It's
plus
okay,
to our
Excuse
doctor.
me.
doctor, our
Get well soon,
Sorry.
frontliner. We
doctor.
have our
Sorry.
frontliner here, man. We
Sorry,
have
sorry,
our
sorry. Yeah?
frontliner here.
It's okay, doctor.
Don't be sorry, doctor. Don't be sorry. We don't deserve you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tak apa, continue kan ni. Tanya
Okay.
Syauki. Sorry
It's okay, doctor. Okay. Based on the doctor said that every human has their own hormone and every gender have their own hormone, right? So from the explanation from the doctor, so I had read a newspaper excerpt and I found that the 14th general election PRU 14th saw that the best achievement of women in the national political arena when for the first time in history, women were appointed deputy prime minister. For political empowerment, the Department of Statistic reports only 40.4% of women are appointed as MPs, while ministerial posts only 17.9% are women. So that we can see here, women are also can join in the political arena and also can be the leader in the management, right? So, Mr. Arif, a moment ago, Dr. Amanda had said that it was appropriate for women to be given equality in all aspects of life. Women can do everything. Also, what men do, women also can do. Mr. Arif, as representing a person working in industry arena today, it is really appropriate for an employer to choose an employee according to gender. Please, Mr. Arif, state your opinion.
Sorry if I laugh first. um, for me lah, for me. Tapi but the question about the employer. Okay. By the way, before we go to the employer, uh, first of all, for me, I value individual competency. If you are competent enough to do the job, to be in the job, to be in the system, I'm happy to let you be. So for me, I value the competency. In regard that the system or the job need to be done, not out of norms, society norms ah. For example, for okay, um, okay, this might be religious or whatnot, and I'm not a religious person. Um, can we appoint a woman as a imam? So sorry. So the and as well, we can also force a man to pregnant. So as long as you are competent enough, and in regard of social norm, I'm happy lah. I'm happy regardless of your gender. That's for me. But for the employer side, about are you I mean the quote or the phrase would be like this: Are you man enough to be in the job? So I don't know, because I'm not a boss. I also makan gaji. So but yeah, back to my answer is that most of the time, around my around my surrounding lah, I see that I lucky kot. Maybe I'm lucky. I have someone that value competency of individual. So for me, when I back in my study days, where I did marine biology. If so, one of the things that need to be done in the marine biology is you need to go diving. So you know that tangki oxygen bloody da tu kan, not tangki oxygen, that tong gas tu kan, tong gas, tak apalah. So
Oxygen.
that tank, that tank tu, as long as you can carry the tank regardless of your gender, and need to done your sampling, we happy, as we are not discriminate any gender at all. You, as long as you can do the job, my supervisor doesn't appoint at all. Oh, this job for sampling, it should be man lah. No, you can carry the tank, you can do the job, you do it. So supervisor much more equivalent to employee. So yeah, so I can see that in the field of science, maybe I'm wrong. Competency of individual are much more value than, rather than you are man enough or woman enough. So that's my answer. I see that most of employer in my science lah. No, I don't know about medical, and but in my marine biology, if you are competent enough, if you can carry the tank, if you can carry the lab work, tedious lab work, overnight lab work on the lab, swim in the lab, so whatnot, then regardless of gender, you are happy to work ah. So for me, um I value individual competency. If you're competent enough, then yeah, for me. That's my answer. I hope I answered the question.
Oh yes, thank you, Mr. Arif, for your opinion regarding to the question. Because I'm also agree with you. As an employee, I think there is no discrimination about the job. because we see, as you said, that Mr. Haikal said that the values competencies individually. So that is the point, not just the gender equality, the not look for the what we call gender only, but we see to the competencies of individual to do the job, so that in the industry they are not separate the words between genders, as well as they have qualification that required so that they can join in. Well, Dr. Amanda, we have heard a sharing from Mr. Arif about the opinion the employer chooses the employee based on gender or qualification. So now, Dr. Amanda, should action be taken to equalize the status of men and women in the employment sector?
So your Shauki is suggesting that if 50% of Ministry of Health is men, so another 50% should be women, is it? Is that the question, Shauki?
Uh, uh, no,
No.
I mean that for your, from your opinion lah, should action to be taken equalize the status of men and women about the employment sector, means that
Oh,
any
okay. In the employment sector, I suppose definitely, for sure, definitely, yeah. You should employ 50-50. But it all depends back on the attitude of the person. I think just like Haikal said earlier, if you're qualified for the task, then go ahead, hire this fella. Doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, somewhere in between. But again, sometimes when it comes to companies, maybe they prefer men much more instead of women, just because they have this idea that all women will end up being pregnant and then would go on holiday for 3 to 6 months every year, and that everyone, all ladies, will end up having 6 or 10 children, and just because of that, they don't want to hire because they are alamak, this fella nanti cuti lagi pregnant nanti some more baby. That's wrong lah. How can you discriminate that? You see,
yeah.
because all of us, siapa yang lahirkan? Women, right? You come from your mommy kot, for heaven's sake. How can you turn that into an offset table? So when it comes to employment, mesti 50-50 lah, kan? You take 50% men, take 50% women lah. That's just how it is. Don't make petty things like that as a cut-off point. Okay? Itu saja.
Okay, Dr. Amanda, on that answer, sorry sebab saya nak tanya, saya nak tahu kan. If we put a 50-50% ratio kan, would it be that we call a quota? Okay, when we call a quota, I see quota is a debatable solution lah kot, sebab because it may imagine that a woman or a man just fill in the space regardless of the person can do the job. So
Tak.
it will be
Cannot.
problem the system and
Correct.
the
Correct.
ni. So kalau macam tu tak lah, mungkin I don't know, maybe
That's why
I feel myself macam
yeah.
I just feeling the quota here just
No
because
lah.
of so kalau kita set the ratio macam tu tak macam tu ke doktor?
Oh tak. Maksud doktor bila set ratio tu, janganlah pula main zekat jarang je. Then at the end of the day yang cantik je lah yang dapat kerja kan. Faham maksud doktor ni? Bukanlah sekadar fill up 50%. Tak lah macam tu. Tapi kalau ambil banyak dah lelaki yang qualified, cari jugalah, bagilah peluang pada wanita-wanita kat luar yang juga qualified kan. Sebab ramai je budak-budak perempuan ni tersadai je degree punyalah tinggi, yang degree mechanical engineering, especially engineering lah kan. Degree punya tinggi, belajar punya penat, last sekali nak ambil budak lelaki juga. Sia-sia je lah kan. Lepas tu keluar pula statement cakap tak apalah, at the end of the day orang perempuan masak dapur je. Aduh, fail. Understand not? That's what I mean. Okay.
Back to you, Shoki. Wah, kita pula jadi
Okay.
moderator.
Kan? Pening lah
Okay.
Syauqi macam ish.
It's okay, Doctor and Mr. Aikan. So, from Dr. Amanda's opinion, so we can see that the attitude of a person is the point of to be in the job, right? So, not the discrimination about the gender and so on. But we can see that today also because the slot on the morning also talk about the job employability and so on. So from that also we can know that the attitude of a person to applying for job is also the key to get the job. So, if there any question from the audience, please leave the question into the chat box on the comment, and I will ask the panels.
Shoki, can the panel ask the question to each other?
It's okay, can
Oh,
Mr. Eka.
but
We are
my
learning.
question would be disturbing the program. So I let you moderate the program.
What do you want to ask about, Mr. Aikal?
So far I have a few question, but I reserve it for later lah.
For
If you,
later,
we go on with your question first.
Syauqi's like, alamak, got question or not? Ada soalan tak?
Alright.
His mouth.
Okay, is there any question from our audience? Okay, the first question is from Amirah Raziha. Can you explain a little bit about gender mainstreaming? So, Dr. Amanda?
I think macam yang doktor cakap tadi kan, just like I said earlier, just because a woman comes in, gives in her CV, the employers already have a preconceived perception, thinking that this, or maybe not to hire so many women because they will get pregnant, or they will cause problems, or just because a woman dresses a little bit nicer, then they would say, they would label you as being high maintenance. But the truth is, it's your own money, so nobody asks a man lah kan. Berapa ratus pula minyak wangi you, but that's the thing. These gender shaming or gender generalization, they tend to happen with women much more than men, unfortunately, and it is something that we must address, actually, not just on social media but outside of social media.
I also agree with you, Dr. Amanda, about the explanation about the question. And then we're going to the next question. All right. So when people talk about gender equality, it always women taking over men job. But what about men taking women job? For example, men as house husband, and the one working is the wife. So what is your opinion, Mr. Aikal?
Man taking a woman job.
Yes.
For me, for me, I don't mind at all. Because I see, okay, in my family, most of the time my mother super duper busy. So the one that cook for us for lunch, the one that that wash our clothes, our laundry would be my father. So as long as the job can be done and the system is go on, everything is productive, I okay with it. But there's a saying out. There's a saying. This is the one saying like this. um okay, there's a saying that woman, okay, sorry, first of all, sorry, woman is fitnah of dunia. Man, come on, I want to be a fitnah of dunia. I'm a man. Can I take the job? Also, can I be the sport? I don't know. Um so if you want to include gender equality over there, so I would be, men also can be the fitnah of dunia. So yeah, I okay with it. I'm okay with it. As long as plus it may break some stereotype about the job. For example, a man nurse. Back in 20 years to 10 years back there. Sorry doktor kalau if I miss fact apa kan. Um kita akan tengok lelaki nurse ni macam stereotype ni macam lembut, less
Betul.
masculine. Back in 20 years But now there's a lot of I see lah when I go to KK hospital, general hospital kan. I'm more than happy to see nurse, a male nurse. First of all, I feel comfortable. So and the maleness also not that uh less masculine, or it's just a normal maleness is that he did his job So society that okay, generation that, sorry, to 30s and 40s above might see this a bit macam ni mesti lembut ni kan, macam-macam kan, macam tengok-tengok ni mesti lembut ni kan. So the stereotype is still there for that generation, but over the time when our generation um taking place the world, we are able to accept the fact that there's a man can do woman job. But man cannot ever pregnant, okay? I don't know, doctor. Maybe one day ke tak tahu then men can do all the woman job. And okay, one of the argument yang I see kan, still there's still that puzzle me kan. Can most of the time when a couple divorce, most of the time hak penjagaan anak tu will belong to mothers kan. Okay, as a man, as a man, why not the father? I don't know, maybe the nature of mother ke, the nature of woman ke, mother ke. Why, why can't men be the one that has the right to, yeah, to the children? That's still a question for me Maybe the judge still judging and timantara tengok, okay, the mom, but some of the case when the children when the mother has the right of the children, and the mother also problematic, so the father still fight on the court, still cannot get the right hak penjagaan. So why? So there's a question juga kot. Why is that? Yeah, I am being the moderator here. Why is that? What are the factors that make men cannot do woman job sampai ke court? Up to the extent court cannot believe men cannot asuh, didik, jaga, basuh, bubu anak. I don't know. So there's another thing tentang men can do woman job kan. So there's argument over there lah. Doktor,
Yes.
you want to add something, doktor? I will be.
Maybe doctor want to
No lah.
add something
This one
about
is
the
more
question.
on this is more concerning law
Law.
lah kan.
Is it
It's
law
just I think it's just how the world makes it lah. It's not just in Malaysia. I think it's everywhere. It's rampant. They would give it to the mother. But that's the thing, because it's such a complex issue. Sebiji macam yang Haikal cakap tadi, if the mother is problematic, actually should give it to the father, kan? Especially if the father has a good financial strength, betul tak? Kan?
Oh,
Yes.
see.
Uh,
But
yeah,
but
but
most of the time, is it the father is breadwinner? So would the
oh,
father have the right?
understand. But in most cases of divorce, there's always a third person, and it's a
Oh,
bit more, yeah, it's a bit more complicated, because in our religion, it is okay to have the third person. In fact, it is okay to have four third persons, kan? Uh, so as I suppose, I don't have children lah. Okay, I don't have children yet. I suppose for the mother, thinking that the husband would want to focus on their, his other families. So the mother feels that tak apalah, she'll take care, and the father can visit every week. However, if the mother is absolutely irresponsible, then it is the responsibility of the social workers, Jabatan Kebajikan Keliling tu, the doctor's testimony, there are a lot of people involved, kan, to actually
then
give.
then then
Uh,
then man cannot still do a woman's job ah.
main kanan saya boleh je. If the mother
Then
tak okay,
okay, the mother is not okay, then become to jabatan kebajikan kan. Why
yes,
not
yes,
still go to the father, doktor?
it's just like
It's
that.
by the law.
That is,
Okay, okay, okay,
it's just how it's being done
It-
lah. Kan?
okay. I think maybe here is that we value law rather than we value morality kot. For
If
me
you
lah, I
ask me
see.
lah, actually, if you ask me, kan, if you ask me, as the, I've got nothing to do with law lah, but I would happily ambil lah kalau you nak. You jagalah, ayo, give
If you are
some.
responsible enough kan,
If you macam bagi je lah dekat father dia, apa salahnya?
kan?
Because like then the mother can actually start a new life. What? Can go marry somebody else, start a new household, kan? Macam tu lah. And it
Okay.
also in divorces like this, must know who cheated lah. Huh? Kan? Must know who brought in the third person lah. Betul tak? It's always like that. Because when you get married, tak kira lah whatever religion pun, you seal the deal already. So it's the person who breaks the vow, that person
Oh,
wouldn't
he
get
doesn't deserve the right ah.
that person memang akan susah sikit lah nak dapat favour in court, because whatever happens in court ni, nak tak nak, it's not just the judge, betul tak? It's also the juries, kan?
Okay,
So
is
the
there any
jury
case
feel for
is
the ni.
okay, is there any case, sorry ni but law lah, tapi but is there any case lah doktor pernah baca ke found out in somewhere lah kan, the mother cheated but still the right is not belong to the father. Doktor tak pernah jumpa lah kes macam tu.
It's usually the other way.
Okay. I'm just asking lah. Kok lah
Nah,
ada
yeah,
mother cheated tapi
yeah.
still bapa dia tak dapat sedangkan macam
Tak adalah. It's usually the other way around, because it's sebab tu lah kita patah balik kepada women empowerment. You see, cakap pasal women
okay.
empowerment sangat senang, tapi kita women each other pun, kita pun facilitate pun, kan. Laki dah tahu kahwin, laki nak pikat husband orang. Is that how you empower one another? You understand or not? And then you
Laki
use
semua sama
religion
doktor.
as you use religion as a perisai. How can you do that? Kan? This old
Yeah,
man,
understand.
they got lots of money, kan? Of course, they
Understand.
will fall for your trap. Kan? So,
Okay.
yeah. Nampak? Dia patah balik je, babe. Dia sama je. Dua-dua pun salah je. But what to do?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm clear. I'm good.
All right. So the next question, I think, from Faye Lockwood. So, what is your opinion when it comes to the way society treats social problem based on gender? For example, sexual assault on men tend to be taken lightly compared to against women. So, Istahikan, what is your opinion?
Um, uh, okay, why when sexual assault on men are less considered as serious compared to women? Maybe lah kot. Maybe there's still a mindset where men should be tough. Man up, man. Oh, man up, man. Man up. You need to. There's still there's still mindset over there lah. Macam man up. You should be a man. Allah. Dia start with Allah. Allah kena ni je pun. Dia still start dengan Allah tu. The mindset is there lah. Um, Plus apa plus there also a mindset where macam men shouldn't be less petty je kot. Macam okay, you shouldn't be cry, you cannot cry. There's a stereotype over there somewhere, I don't know. Cannot cry. So when you being assault, you shouldn't cry. You shouldn't tell other people. Men also can cry. I cried a lot when I did my master, but not context of sexual assault lah. So I cried a lot. I cry whenever I want. Whenever I want or whenever whenever life hit me ah. So plus things like that kan, things like that yang macam society think that men are much more less sexual area atau private part compared to women. So less part to need macam mana? When men less part of private part, men has less area also, less area of private part. So the degree or the magnitude of sexual assault is not much bigger to the other opposite gender, which wrong. The private part is private part, regardless of the surface area of the private part. So, kena kat satu tempat je. So, dengar tak? Kena kat satu tempat je. Perempuan kena kat banyak tempat. So, macam it's still private part, man. It's not about how big the area is. It's still you touch the area. So, yeah. Most of the time people think of that lah kot. Dr. Amanda, you want to add? I would like to hear your thoughts about it. Why men are less considered in sexual assault?
I think more or less whatever you have said before, because men has to be more macho, more ego, all of that, conceal, don't feel, like the Elsa song kan. Lepas tu habis, let it go. But yeah lah, like that lah kan. So it's not just gender shaming for women, it's also gender shaming for men, you see. And just because you look like a man, most of these people nowadays inside bukan man pun kan. And yalah, you understand which side I'm going kan. So macam itulah, gender generalization tu actually very bad lah, cannot do that.
Doktor, in a medical case is there a trauma in a man when because of sexual assault, doktor, kat emergency ada tak?
Jarang lah. They don't come forward. Sangat jarang. Usually in emergency department, when come forward will be mothers lah. Kan? Because when they, for example, usually the men will come back when they are drunk, overdose, kan? And then habis lah kena. So usually they want to hurt the child or the wife, or the wife trying to protect the child, either way lah. Usually it's that. That's why talian kasih is 15999 for kes-kes penderaan specifically untuk wanita dan anak-anak kan. Tapi tak ada pula talian kasih untuk penderaan lelaki kan. Sepatutnya actually kena ada.
Talian kasih boleh guna untuk lelaki tak?
Boleh je.
Okay.
Dia fall, talian kasih fall under Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita kan. Tapi boleh je. Asalkan dia fall under kes dera. Okay je. On je. Tak masalah. It's 24 hours.
See. I'm clear.
All right. So there is a question from Aurora. to both panelists, have you guys ever faced gender equality issue in the workplace? Please, Dr. Amanda first.
Yang sesemua ni lah dia tanya dulu. Okay. Apa lah? Apa gender equality dalam workplace
Yeah.
To be honest kan, okay je lah. Because I think even like myself, yesterday KKM we launched Men's Health Awareness Week kan, Minggu Kesihatan Lelaki Sedunia. And guess who is the host for KKM? Me, you know, and I'm a girl. Nampak tak kan? And that holds a lot of power lah kan, you know, for you to have a girl doctor. And I'm not just a normal doctor, I'm a contract doctor. I'm very junior, I paling bawah. So in the food chain you have apa, tangga piramid, you've got the tiger all lah. Doktor punya level ni very junior kan, so I will probably be the batu ataupun the rumput yang lembu tu pijak. That's my level lah, kan. But alhamdulillah I get the chance. So dia berbalik-balik kepada apa yang Haikal cakap tadi. If you kan, tak kira lah you trans, boy, girl, whatever, kan, LGBTQ plus pun, but if you can do the job, honey, you execute the job. Screw what everyone else says. Because this issue about gender equality, the fight that we are moving towards gender equity, it's been going on and on and on. So how can you stand out? Itulah macam Haikal cakap tadi. Sendiri. Self-empowerment, self-enrichment. Okay?
Okay. How about you, Mr. Haikal?
Most of the time I am super lazy tau. So is this gender equality? I don't know. But maybe it's just me ranting about how lazy I am. So whenever okay, I did in scientific academia field industry, and now I'm currently in media, doing YouTube and whatnot. So whenever the human need to be bring to one place to another, most of the time the equipment are super heavy. So why me? Why me? So because maybe I'm renting, maybe I'm lazy kot. So nak angkat kamera semua tu, alah leceh. Maybe I'm just lazy person. Maybe. But yeah, because of, back to the previous answer, because of the stereotype lah kot. Men are should be super masculine, should be tough, and can be angkat kamera berkilo-kilo. So yeah, that's why kot most of the time ni. But in the scientific field, I've seen that my friend, girl, she did a sampling from subuh up to midnight. Go on the boat, go diving, no, take a break for lunch a bit, alone. She did apa ni, bawa boat sendiri and whatnot. So yeah, I don't, in my field in marine biology, I don't see a problem lah. Because I have done both, in the both field, so I can see the difference. That's my answer.
Oh, great. Thank you, Dr. Amanda and Mr. Haikal. So for the last question, I would like to give to the speakers. Okay, this question from Intan Nurul Shazwani. So it is a must to put like gender quota in every work on program or program, since we are now toward the equalism. So the question for Mr. Haikal first, I think, and then we go to the Dr. Amanda.
Okay, yeah lah. The question also is my question, and we previously discussed about it. It's still debatable. It's still debatable. For me, it's still debatable. Quota can solve can be a temporary solution, but it's not long term. There's a research say that we are a century a century away to make a gender equality happen. Okay. So for me, kalau quota kalau quota just to make men and women equal, how about the competency? How about is it the woman or the man that fill in the quota can do the job? So yeah, it feels so wrong. It feels so wrong. First of all, it feels so wrong for the person itself. I'm here just to filling the space. And second, it can be super unproductive to the system or to the program. Yalah, the person cannot do the job just because filling the quota. At the same time, my third point ialah it create an opportunity for the minorities. If the minorities here we are talking about women, then we are try to make a woman more chance to be in the program in the system. That's about it for me. So it's still debatable. I also ask the question: Is quota is the solution? I see a temporary solution. So yeah, it's still debatable for me kot.
All right. In the point of Dr. Amanda for the last question.
Oh, sorry. The last question is about quota, right? When it comes to gender equality. You know what? I think it's tough because what we see on TV, I mean, look at our lineup, like you say, kan, adik, just now, Shoki. Lineup of
Yeah.
politicians, lineup of ministers, kan, they are mostly men. But at the end of the day, it's really who can do the job well. And I don't see them doing the job well pun.
Doktor
How?
tak bahaya doktor. You are government servant doktor.
You understand or not? Kan dia salah cakap pula aku bang. But I don't see, that's the thing. And I feel that there are a lot of women leadership that can be brought forward. Tapi tenggelam begitu sahaja, and why is that so? You see, everything is just exactly like Haikal said, taboo. Hush hush. On social media only, everybody sharing this and that, quote this and that lah. But when it comes to pelantikan, tak ada apa pun. Nampak tak? Kan? So, tak apalah adik-adik. Kadang-kadang kita cuba discusskan benda yang memang takkan ada hujungnya. Jadi at the end of the day, adik-adik invest dalam diri adik sendiri. Habis cerita. Do your best kan. Tak kira lah you apa gender, apa boy, girl, LGBTQ plus pun. You can do the job, go for it. Pedulikan je. Okay. No need to fikir pasal 50%, 50%. Understand? Remember, Perdana Menteri New Zealand is female. 70% doctors kat dunia ni is female. Kan? Buang semua all of this labeling. Alright, that's it from me.
All right. Thank you, Doctor and Ms. Taika, for your opinion about the question, and thank you for the audience for the question today. So I think that's all for our last slot today. I would like to thank to the speakers for this slot gender equality for spending time with us. I know that Doctor is so busy, right? Kadang-kadang tak dapat rehat, right, Doctor? Dah sakit dah, Doctor. So not forget to our audience, thank you for participating our program today. Till we meet again insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to all of our amazing panelists, and also thank you to all participants for participating in today's event. Thank you for lending your time. I hope that we are all able to obtain useful information and gain new knowledge from this conference. Again, before we end this conference, I would like to remind all audiences and participants to scan the QR code or click on the link in the description box below for your e-certificate. Thank you again for lending us your time. We are very glad that you joined us today. See you guys all next year. Goodbye.
And if we truly believe that every girl in every corner of the globe is worthy of an education as our own daughters and granddaughters are, then we need to deepen our commitment. We also need to fight even harder to ensure that quality education for every child